So what is my motivation of making these videos? I am green to surprise, excuse my icicle lights. And the fact that I am in bed. I'm not bedridden now these days. I'm not going to let them give me a CAT scan this summer, so I hope I won't be. I have to make this video before I take the thyroid pill, this, that, whatever. What is my motivation for making these videos? Well, besides the fact that nobody cares about helping people with crises anymore these days. Well, not my case. Anyways. And besides the fact that it's really, really sucky to be left with a severe chronic illness that also has a component of it feels like shingles. It's the worst thing ever. That is my motivation for making these videos. It is for the next generation to not get stuck with a disease that basically zaps all your energy, can fill your organs and kill you, and feels like shingles coming out of your body. Of course, everyone will just go treat the psoriasis-like symptoms like we have today, and or like it's all popping up today. Oh, this thyroid stuff hurts. Hopefully, just a couple more days of 15 milligrams, and I will be melting away, having all the orthostatic intolerance that leads to fainting, and that's what I'm hoping, and that I can be done with thyroid and done with all these pills. It's been a long journey, and I've had some prayers from the church and whatnot, but what's gotten me through this is my discipline, is my obedience to just basic, nutritional foundations of things, because as Americans we're like, oh yeah, sugar's bad, let's go get an ice cream cone, you know what I mean? And I love ice cream, but I don't eat it. You know what I mean? Or they'll just continue to eat sugar all day long, and Americans are like talking about nutrition, and then, Taco Bell value menu. Can't say I'm not guilty. That sounds super good right now. Oh, yeah. So yeah, it'd be cool if, but no, really where, and the prayers have helped for sure, but really where the need was with me as a person on my own that's had severe fatigue problems, and the reason it's just proven when you have pathogens and opportunist pathogens, they steal your nutrients. Not only that, but there's been a mechanism in my body that has prevented from the brain to it's prevented the chemicals into doing what they're supposed to do. Oh, I'm so overthyroided. Oh, I can't wait for this to be over. And oh man, I just hope that I can't wait to not have to take these thyroid pills anymore. Because that's where all this started. It started with all of the microbial colonizations and whatnot. But where all my illness really started is when I started thyroid pills. And then, of course, community health, they want to put you on birth control pills. Hope I didn't flash anyone there. Sorry. When you have this disease, it's horrible, and it's really hard to wear clothes sometimes, which is another reason it's hard to live like a normal person. What was I gonna say? Oh, when you have a health condition that causes problems in your ovaries, like, loves the brain, loves the ovaries the most. Loves the thyroid, brain, and ovaries. Adrenals. All of them. But when those things are attacked, you can't function. And nobody will help you. Churches don't like to help people. Oh, it's so sad. This is not the world that we like are supposed to be living in, not the world that we did live in. And if we have a depression and we keep this attitude, it's gonna be real hairy and real ugly. I know. I mean, cops will really be able to do whatever they want. Like, chase people off of highways into their death for being chronically ill and not having any help from their families, communities, or the churches after having decades of illnesses that won't be treated, that are severe and horrible. The only reason that I'm alive is because of the discipline of how I've had to eat, having dealt with systemic candidus overgrowth, which I might have had a little bit of it before, who knows, but in the early 2000s, I gained 50, 60 pounds almost overnight. I got super puffy. It was awful. And that's when the chronic symptoms started. Oh, sorry. I make these videos before I get out of bed because I can kind of sort of think a little bit. And then the day starts and it just gets off from there. And I also try to write things down in the morning. So I guess maybe the next one will try to turn off my disco party. I know it's distracting. I know that 3 people will watch this video. I don't really care. I have to keep this documentation. I hope it will be pieced together because I really believe a lot of what I've learned will help. Now, when it comes to, this is one really sad thing, and it's something I observed in a church that believed in divine healing and miracles, and I went to Oral Roberts University. I do believe that there's definitely some legitimacy to the miracles that were documented in those 10 healings. But one thing I learned so early in the church, just growing up, one thing that I had observed was, okay, so we're preaching this healing, and I had to change my diet because of systemic candidus overgrowth that the medical industry wouldn't admit to. That's destroyed my life, a big part of it, probably the biggest part of this illness that's destroyed my life and caused it to get worse and worse to where it's become disabling. The observation was that we want to have all these miraculous healings because we want everything instant, even in the church now. We don't want to work for anything. But we weren't willing to actually follow God's obedience according to how He commanded us to eat. We all still wanted to be healed of these conditions related to eating horribly and still eat horribly. And it's only one of the reasons that the miracles and healings aren't happening in churches the way they should be. The other one is because the Lord does command the church to bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. And nobody wants to do that anymore. They want instant microwave generation. Oh, bless you. Oh, let's send someone a nice meme. That'll get them healed. That wasn't in Matthew 25. When I was sick, you sent me a nice meme. And that's the treatment I've gotten. Nice memes. That's what they do on this suicide prevention site in this town. They wouldn't put the data in the article that I had concerning the connection between how many people commit suicide with Lyme disease. They wouldn't put that on the local suicide site. But all these little fluffy memes. Do you really think that fluffy memes are going to divert somebody from killing themselves? Maybe a sane would, maybe. Teaching most possibly could, for sure. But I'm sorry, it takes more than memes to save the lives of our future generations. It takes more than memes to get people through a crisis. Memes are not bearing one another's burdens and so fulfilling the law of Christ. You're not doing anything for Christ by sending someone a meme. So anyways, this is what I preach, and I preach as a chronically ill person, and it looks ridiculous. And I hope to just take all these down, and I can't wait for the day that I can make them more normalized, and I'm going to try. if I write things down, then I can take a bath, and then I can get dressed, and then I can look like a normal person, you know, so that I can be taken seriously by one person. No, but it's important, and if I write it down, then I can make a normal looking video, and I'm going to try to do that. So I encourage people that have issues like this to write things down before, you know, the 5G gets to you. Just by the way, the only medically legitimate thing that I found concerning the electrical sensitivities and why it happens is heavy metals in the body, which makes total sense. I do believe that, you know, there could possibly be a thyroid connection too. But as we know with Morgellons, besides collagen and keratin, hair and fingernails that make up these fibers coming out of us, scientifically proven under a microscope, confirmed by the FBI database. Okay. True story. Validated. I really doubt Tulsa Forensics would be putting themselves out there if this were not true information. I lived in Tulsa for 7 years of my life. 2 as a kid, 5 in college. 2nd tick bite. Anyways, metals in the body. So now I did get heavy metals testing. I have done several cleanses from my health food store from the last 20 years. I've had to. But of course it came back clean, and then everything goes to the state lab. So now if you live in a double superfine site that has, you know, heavy metal problems, yeah, that's how our government's working, and that's why I'm making more videos now. But the other thing is, and this is not a nefarious explanation, but that possibly that stuff's not in your blood because our blood is designed to clean itself. Now, when we got stuff in our tissue and our organs, is it going to show up on blood tests? And is that partially why we're being affected with the electrical sensitivities and other issues that having too much metals in your body causes? I live in a mining waste town. I was super surprised to see my heavy metals coming back. My attorney said a lot of your symptoms could be related to having metal poisoning. I had the blood test. It didn't show that. But no, it's a lot more than that. I've been doing cleanses forever. There's a whole lot more to this. Heavy metals doesn't cause shingle-like symptoms. This is painful. It's not fun. It's not something that I want on top of my head. Looks just like a fungal manifestation of a thing. Although, you know, I have Morgellons as well. What the Morgellons Research Foundation told me, a foundation based on medical science, a respectable foundation, is that the fungal infection is separate for Morgellons, but they go together. The reason you get the fungal infection is because of the other things. My dad was like, wait, now I thought you said you had this. I thought you said you had that. It's called autoimmune disease. It's a compounding thing. And when you get Lyme and chronic Lyme, and then you're left with this by the medical industry like we are, then things build on it. And that's another reason why they think you're crazy. That's why you can't try to figure out the source or point to it. Honestly, it's probably a lot of it building on one another. Like in my case, if you followed my story, I had tick bite, Nicaraguan missionary trip, which I know I got sicker on, but I know there was stuff going on before that. I was exposed to mono, this and that. We all were. I mean, but, or was I at that? Oh, and then the significance of the fact that I was born in Granger in 1976 was something that I figured out. And that's one of the trip-ups with SSDI hearing and how they want to deny you. Okay, now, you mentioned that you researched your condition, and I don't have the brains to research anything for reals. My neuropsych did, and didn't say I was delusional. PhD, thanks. I wouldn't care if I had to be delusional just to get the SSDI, to get the labs nobody will help me get, to get it all confirmed. I have a confirmed Lyme disease co-infection. That we know is true. We got to get the Bartonella and the fungal test confirmed. So don't use that against me to say I don't have this horrible disease, because I do, and it's proven, and I've got very good photographic evidence, and no, I didn't make it up, and no, we're not all making this up. That's ridiculous and stupid. Who would do that? Why would all these people do that? The reason that there's the urban area connection, it isn't because people had computers and looked it up. It's because of the EMFs. Duh. Oh, so annoying. So anyways, the excuses they said about this disease are so ridiculous. I cannot even believe that people believe them. That's only the devil trying to destroy lives. And it worked. And it worked with my Christian family, I can tell you that. Or so-called loose quotes. I lost my place. That's okay. I gotta go. 16 minutes anyways. That's my fun icicle lights. Gonna try to make a more normal video. Probably put these up because oh yeah, the judge and the researching thing. I was like, well, you know, he looked it up. Okay, well, that's the cure of all diseases. All you gotta do is look it up on the internet, and you don't really have it, according to the government. And then I was like, no, I mean, I looked it up after my doctor gave me the Mayo Clinic printout of Morgellons disease. That's how my doctor told me I had it, because doctors can't diagnose you with this. And, you know, she didn't even know what it was. She just heard the symptoms from another doctor and was like, oh my goodness, I have that patient. And then gave me the Mayo Clinic printout on it, because it's not, you know, it's not confirmed as a real disease. And I highly doubt it will be, because, you know, everyone's got to get psoriasis first. Anyways, no, and then I told the judge, I was like, okay, considering that place I was born and lived the first 5 years of my life and the connection there, I just found that out 3 weeks ago. I was like, 3 weeks ago. I'd say I'm quite a bit behind on the research. And that only came up by accident. It only came up because I was literally looking up COVID diseases. Oh, what? Everyone's looked up COVID on the internet. Doesn't have it, okay? That's how our government thinks. That's how they deny disease. You don't have COVID if you've looked it up on the internet. You must have just you must be making up all your symptoms. Just like I was making up all my breathing problem symptoms according to the ER in this crappy town. According to the police officer that almost killed me on a welfare check, that tried to come have anything to do with me in an ambulance when I was having orthostatic intolerance badly, and it was leading to fainting. When he came with the fireman, I said, he cannot touch me. He almost killed me on a welfare check. He's not allowed to touch me or have anything to do with me. But when we went up to the ER, and then I couldn't look at him because I have PTSD from him. And then the person, because they're all a bunch of little chatty gossip, inconsiderate people at the ER in this town in the middle, loud mouths. The woman says, oh, why does she hate you so bad? Why does she not want to talk to you? Or you know what I mean? Why won't she let you have anything to do with her? Well, besides the fact that when I was put in jail, unlawfully incarcerated for being too sick and not having any help from my family, getting kicked down the street by my Christian family when I was too sick to sit up or stand up then. Anyways, when he took people's bloods, the one woman, it was just her whole arm was bruised. Anyways, that's not the reason why. The reason why is because he's nefarious. And anyways, up at the ER, he proceeds to talk to the woman for 20 minutes. And I gotta get brave and smart. I'm naive, and that's how, you know, that's how things have been able to progress. But what I should have done was recorded that, because that was a violation of HIPAA. I had requested him not have anything to do with it. And that's why, even though I brought up my MSAM patch, which they were like, we don't know what this is. And I was like, you want me to Google it for you? Yet they still put amphetamine abuse on my record. You know what? If somebody is on a prescription you should send in the DL isomer. I was able to run to my doctor and get the DL isomer on that. But they should not be able to pin an amphetamine abuse on somebody that's chronically ill and is prescribed stimulants for years. They should not be able to pin that on somebody without sending in for the DL isomer, which they needed to do in my MAOI case. Or at least look it up and see what it is on a computer. The medical industry would be more efficiently run by third graders these days. And it's not the doctor's fault. In some videos I say doctors, and I don't mean that. Because there are, you know, like Christians, there's a very small percentage of good ones. It's the system. And that's why really the biggest sin is people not opening their minds. And that's what needs to happen for the systems to fall and the people to be able to do their jobs right. Thanks. Another rant from Sally, overthyroided with horrible disease that this country won't treat and just leaves us like this with no help. I'll make others, of course. Bye-bye.